Thank you. Very nice, thank you. Very nice, thank you.
Terry, I started the ring as a peace palmer.
You're almost outnumbering Sydney on that carrying.
We had to. Otherwise, they only wanted 2 from Sydney on making carry.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I thought Bonnie was Jennifer is Sydney. With me as a peace palmer.
I like it.
Only because I told them the name was Quinn.
Have extra the construction site. Fantastic, thank you. Thank you so much.
For those with fortunate enough to have being next to a chair, you're free to be seated. This year we're going to have the formalities begin early because some of our politicians need to leave early to other events. We may have a short intermission and then we'll have the menorah lighting after that. So there'll be plenty of time to be able to come back to the food and drinks table to partake in the delicacies. And to, of course, mingle, which is the aim of the game here. Welcome to our 5th annual Chanukah celebration at the ACT Legislative Assembly. I pay my respects on behalf of Chassia to the traditional custodians of this land, to their elders, past and present. I begin by giving a special welcome to our Chief Minister, Andrew Barr. Hello, if you'd like to come to the front, please. As well as the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Alistair Coe. Please come to the front. Supposed to have chairs. Chair, yeah. So, Ministers, Shadow Ministers, MLAs, in the order of ABC, Candice Birch, Joy Birch, Tara Cheney, Nicole Lauder, Michael Pedersen, Gordon Ramsay, Chris Steele, Elizabeth Kickett, and Vicky Dunn, who have made it here this evening to celebrate with us. Thank you very much. All of you are VIPs. However, I'd like to make a special welcome to some of you in particular, including fellow rabbis, rebbitzins, reverend clergy, leaders and representatives of various faith groups in Canberra, including the Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Baha'i, Sikh, Sukya Mahakari, Quakers, Peace Pole, and Buddhist communities. Always a very special welcome to members of the Diplomatic Corps who attend to celebrate with the Jewish community yearly, and this year we have their excellencies, the ambassadors from Argentina, Chile, Hungary, Israel, Poland, Russia, and Switzerland, as well as I saw a friend from the German embassy as well. Thank you very much for coming. Heads and representatives of many of Canberra's diverse religious and multicultural communities. I'll apologize that I will not mention all of you by names, but it is wonderful that you could all make it. Federal and territory members of the public service, directors and members of our Jewish community in Canberra and the surrounding region we serve, members of the wider Canberra community, friends all. It means a tremendous amount to Chassi, myself, and our community to have you all celebrating with us tonight at the important celebration and festival of Chanukah. This celebration for the 5th year running brings together such a fantastic cross-section of Canberra's multicultural and wider community representatives. To begin the proceedings this evening, I would like to ask you to stand for a short invocation prayer followed by the Australian anthem. We pray to you, Almighty God, that you should guide the nations to honor you by honoring one another, so that by reaching out in love to one another, we become your family on earth, as you are our parent in heaven. We beseech you to bestow upon all of us optimal health, abundant wisdom, deep compassion, and productive fellowship. Bless the Queen and her representatives, together with all of our elected officials in federal, state, and our local territory government. May they administer this country and this territory with wisdom and justice, grace and compassion, bringing honor to your name and success to our nation. Bless these distinguished individuals elected to the ACT Legislative Assembly, with whom our fellow Australians in the ACT have bestowed faith and confidence to enact laws and make decisions affecting all of our society. Bless us that we may continue living in this great country of Australia in peace and prosperity, free from any sort of prejudice. May our society strive to fulfill the 7 universal laws given to us by God, ensuring that we are governed by statutes infused with biblical morality and ethics. Bless these distinguished individuals that have come tonight to celebrate with us. May all of those who labor for the community see success in their holy work, and may you bless the selfless individuals who work tirelessly for the greater good. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated, some of you. And now we're going to do the anthem. We'll Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil, wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounding nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. May be seated. Okay, so for those who want to know what's going to happen here this evening, I see why you know this evening as well. You all have the program booklets, which I'm going to look at now to make sure I know what's coming next. Yes, I'm going to be giving a little talk about Chanukah, my yearly address here. The menorah which we are going to be kindling this evening represents many things. I would like to talk about 2 of those. The original menorah candelabra in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem 2,500 years ago was hewn out of one large piece of solid gold. This is very symbolic. The many branches represent all the different types of people, opinions, and ways of life. It was made of one piece of gold, which underlines the fact that beneath all of our differences, there is a commonality that unites us all. In Australia, we are very proud of our society, which mirrors the message of the menorah. Diversity of cultures and ways of life, but a unity of purpose, respect for human decency, and the rule of law. But this did not happen and does not happen on its own. Our privileged Western way of life and rule of law was founded on shared biblical values. These remain as they always have been, the universal ethics that are the bedrock and fabric of our society. The great Jewish sage of the Mishnah, Hillel, who lived some 2,000 years ago, famously stated that the summary of the entire Torah and all of the Jewish teachings is to not do unto others what you would not like done unto you. Friends, we're seeing a phenomenon in the world not seen since pre-war Europe. Anti-Semitism and hatred have found their voice again. And as a result, we are seeing Jews once again fleeing from some European countries. In the US, anti-Semitic incidents have seen rises of over 50% per year in the last few years. In Australia, we have seen a similar pattern, and Canberra hasn't been immune to this bitter trend either. In addressing this here, I wish to talk about another aspect to the menorah. The role of the shamash, the lamp in the middle of the menorah, whose job it is to light all of the other branches. Otherwise, the shamash is called the lamplighter. Each of us are created in the image of God, and we each possess a beautiful flame within. It is the soul, which is the essence of humanity, the flame of God within us all. Sometimes, however, this flame gets drowned out with darkness and negativity and ceases to shine. The prevailing way to combat darkness is with light. Light a candle in a dark room, and the darkness simply disappears. This is the role of the lamplighter, to fight the darkness of the world with light, to kindle the wick within the inherent soul of the other when we see that there is darkness apparent. It is incumbent upon all who love and enjoy our freedom and liberty and wish for it to continue to take heed from what the menorah represents, to increase in acts of love, acts of goodness and kindness, and acts of light. Our freedoms are not sustainable if we are to remain silent, for that only acts to empower the darkness. Last week, we received unprecedented support by leaders of Canberra's diverse faith communities as a response to some darkness experienced by our community of late. This response is the real Canberra. These are the beautiful expressions of humanity which we have become accustomed to in our nation's capital. And it is this outpouring of light which will bring upon the world the next miracle, that all of us, all of humanity, will live in peace and harmony with one another. It is with this spirit that I invite our distinguished Chief Minister and Leader of the Opposition, leaders of our nation's capital, to come together and kindle the lamplighter of our national menorah. We give them this honor on our holy festival. And this will represent a spirit of true bipartisanship, leading by example as lamplighters in chief, in dispelling the remaining darkness in our society by lighting up Canberra with even more goodness and love. In your program booklets, there is a song composed by a cousin of mine in the United States. And before I call upon the honorable dignitaries here tonight to speak, we are all going to sing this song together. So please follow along. It's a beautiful song. And it's on the 4th page of the program booklet. his wife, Mishki. All it takes is one small candle, one small flickering, shining candle. That is all it takes to penetrate the dark. And all it takes is one soft word, one soft, soothing, gentle word. That is all it takes to mend a broken heart. If we put our hearts and minds together, 1,000 glowing candles burning bright will become a force that can't be measured, and together we can drive away the night. All it takes is one small tear, one small glistening earnest tear. That is all it takes to melt a heart of stone. And all it takes is one bright smile, one sweet, caring, a loving smile. That is all it really takes to know that you're not alone. Let's all put our hearts and minds together, 1,000 glowing candles burning bright. Then we'll become a force that can't be measured, and together we can dry away the night. And together, everyone together, let's raise our voices in harmony. Someday soon we'll all be free, if only we could all stand together. All we have is one small dream. Join along, one small, glorious, hopeful dream. That is all we've ever had to help to pull us through. And all we ask for is one more miracle, one last long-awaited miracle. That is all we need to make our dreams come true. Oh, when we put our hearts and minds together, 1,000 glowing candles burning bright, and we become a force that can't be measured, and together we will drive away the night. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure, honor and privilege to introduce our Chief Minister of the ACT, Mr. Andrew Barr, MLA, to give greetings to the Jewish community and all of those assembled. Chief.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Feldman, and welcome everyone here to the Legislative Assembly. How's that being here at the back of the room? Can I begin with an acknowledgement of the country to pay my respects to the Ngunnawal people and their elders, past, present and emerging. And can I welcome the Leader of the Opposition, Minister Chris Steele, and all other members of the Legislative Assembly who are with us this evening. And thank you for the kind invitation to say a few words to you all this evening. I think it's fitting that we've just sung the Australian National Anthem. The second verse of our National Anthem talks about those who've come across the seas and the boundless plains that we have to share. And it is in that spirit that Canberra, as Australia's national capital, seeks to show that national leadership, that leadership for inclusivity, for diversity, and to ensure that all who live here in this city and in this country share in the wonderful benefits of Australian life. And I want to particularly acknowledge this evening the contribution that Jewish Australians make to the social and cultural development of our city and our nation. I believe Canberra is Australia's most inclusive city, and I think we have all collectively many reasons to be proud of our city's success as a diverse and inclusive community. And in a time in world politics where many communities and many politicians want to build walls and leave unions, like the European Union, countries that seek to put up barriers to more diversity, this city and this country can and will and should stand for something different, for a different set of values. And I think that is our great strength and will continue to be our great strength as a community. It's pretty fundamental for me and our government that Canberra continues to be the most inclusive city in this nation. It's important for our social and cultural life. It's important for us as a community who cares. It's also important economically, but I think most importantly, it's a reflection of the shared values that we hold. And tonight is an opportunity to acknowledge, as Rabbi Feldman has outlined, those shared values, to have that at the forefront of our thinking at this time of year. Our city is a great example of how people of diverse faiths and cultures live together harmoniously, but find great strength in that diversity. And I believe through strengthening the bonds of cultural diversity, we can continue to develop our city as a place where social harmony, compassion and resilience shine brightly. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words this evening. It's wonderful to be here, and I look forward to sharing this evening with you all, although apologies as I do have 2 more events to attend this evening, so I will need to depart shortly. Thank you very much.
And just before you sit down, we have a little gift for you from the Jewish community. I'll read the inscription. This is a silver-plated menorah presented to the ACT Chief Minister Andrew Barr by Chabad ACT Jewish Community, 5th Annual Chanukah Ceremony at the ACT Parliament. And obviously that's also for his commitment to keep Canberra an inclusive city that encourages all faiths and all community groups. So thank you, Chief Minister, for that. And now we have a distinct pleasure to call upon the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Alistair Coe, who from 5 years ago worked as a very hard to encourage me to do this event here publicly as well. So I want to give a special thanks to Alistair, who's here for the 5th year. And we also have a gift for you. And if I could please ask everyone to put your phones on silent, and you can feel free to come up to the front of the room, please. You can walk up a bit closer.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here in the Assembly for this wonderful celebration of Hanukkah. Of course, to all the MLAs in the room, particularly the Chief Minister and my Liberal colleagues, Nicole Lauder, Vicky Dunn, Elizabeth Kickett, James Milligan, Candace Birch, our Senate candidate Robert Gunning, and of course to all the distinguished community leaders. It is wonderful to have you here in this demonstration of unity. I firmly believe that Hanukkah is a great demonstration of faith and family. The lighting of the candle and the subsequent candles that will take place in coming days is of course a reminder of lightness shining beyond the darkness, but also as a demonstration of faith, this eternal commitment that the Jewish people have for a better world. And then also family is central to Jewish customs and teachings. And I think of all the religions in the world, perhaps nobody celebrates family quite like Judaism. Nobody quite has that same appreciation for the intergenerational links that bind families together, quite like the Jewish people do. And so it should come together in this wonderful celebration every year, where faith and family are both cherished over this glorious week. I want to talk just very briefly in admiration and thanks for all that Shmuley and Chazia are doing for the community in Canberra. I had the pleasure of going to the opening of the mikveh back in 2011. And soon after, the Feldmans arrived. And as I'm sure you all know better than I do, they go a million miles an hour, and they've always got many irons in the fire. And of course, the next campaign that they're on is to open a primary school in Belconnen. That is a venture that I warmly support, and I encourage everyone in this room to also get behind that. Because just as faith and family go together, nothing brings that together more so than education. And there is, of course, a real need to celebrate faith in education, and that's what Shmuley and Chabad are looking at doing from term 2 next year. So, to the Jewish community gathered, to members of other faiths and other communities, thank you for coming to the assembly, to your assembly, in this wonderful demonstration of unity, and I wish you all a very happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Alistair, for your warm words. Much appreciated. And have a gift for you. It is presented to Alistair, co-MLA by Chabad ACT Jewish Community, 5th Annual Chanukah Celebration of ACT Parliament. Yes. Come. We'll have now a brief intermission. If we can invite the MLAs here in attendance to come up also for a group picture. A brief intermission, following which we'll hear Minister Steele and do the is Elizabeth Kippur here?
I believe so.
And then do the lighting of the menorah. Tassie, come. Can we have the other MLAs come up?
Which camera? Thank you very much.
Yes, I do.
You want to read it? I've got some right.
There's a lot of inclusiveness in that film. I loved what you said. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
That's right. That's right, yeah.
We will light the menorah with a song and some blessings. Following the menorah being lit, we will hear two more addresses from two more greetings from Minister Steele and Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Nicole Lauder. So please hang around for that. To make the blessings on the lighting of the menorah, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Motti Feldman, an older brother of mine who serves as the Chief Minister in the Dover Heights in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Rabbi Motti is also a distinguished rabbi and chazan, which means a cantor. And it is our honor this year to have him attending all the way from Sydney to lead the blessings of the lighting of the menorah here in the ACT Parliament. You can follow along the blessings in the middle page of the program book. And for those who are in the front area, I'm going to be handing out these LED lights that you can hold up for the lighting and pull out the thing and press the button. And you could turn it on for the lighting of the theme of the one small candle. So here we go. two of our distinguished community elders with the lighting of the two lights of our menorah. It is the elders that pass on our tradition and heritage to the future generations, as it is in every culture and religion, and in Judaism it is especially prevalent, the aspect of respect and honoring our elders. So the honorary treasurer of Chabad ACT and director, Theo Menachemson, if you could please come up for the lighting of the first light. And if we can please have Mr. Harry Chaim Opperman, who is many years given over his life to the community and is a representative on the Interfaith Forum and the multicultural communities, to light the second light. Come. Mazel tov. Now I'd like to call upon the Minister for Multicultural Affairs and a host of other affairs, Minister Chris Steele, to be able to give greetings and read us the letter sent especially for this occasion by the Federal Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Bill Shorten.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to start by firstly acknowledging someone who I know, if Bill Shorten was here, would acknowledge, and that is Alicia Payne, our Labor candidate here in the seat of Canberra. This is a message from the Honourable Bill Shorten MP, Leader of the Opposition in the Federal Parliament. It gives me great pleasure to send my well wishes to Chabad ACT and everyone taking part in the annual Chanukah celebrations here in Canberra. Hanukkah, Festival of Lights, commemorates the cleansing and the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem after the Maccabean War some 22 centuries ago. Hanukkah is an uplifting story of hope and liberation. It is a time to celebrate with friends and family, give thanks for our blessings, and reach out to those less fortunate. On behalf of the Federal Parliamentary Labor Party, I pay my deep respects to the Australian Jewish community during Hanukkah. I honour your devotion and faith, which finds expression in important religious festivities like this, as well as in the day-to-day Jewish traditions. I acknowledge Rabbi Shmuley Feldman for his leadership and outreach within the Canberra region and beyond. I congratulate the Rabbi and members of Chabad ACT for another successful year of community events, including the Hanukkah Fair and the ceremony held in the ACT Parliament today. As the 9 candles on the menorah burn after the sun sets, may you all enjoy a happy Hanukkah filled with peace, love and joy. Hanukkah Sameach, I think it is. That was the message from Bill Shorten, MP, Leader of the Opposition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Steele, and want to congratulate you also for your the good work that you're doing since taking on the role of minister. He's been out to our community, and I'm sure he's making his way out to all the communities. So keep up the good work. We'd like to now call upon Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Nicole Lauder, to give Chanukah greetings, a message from the federal leader, the Prime Minister of Australia. I think at the moment it's Scott Morrison. The Honourable Scott Morrison.
Thank you, and with apologies from my colleague Elizabeth Kickett, who's been delayed in traffic. So I get to read you the message from the Prime Minister, printed in very small print in your program, can I point out. So, sorry about that. Hanukkah is a significant and festive time for Jewish families everywhere. A moment to commemorate the miracle of the oil. For 2,000 years, the Jewish people have reminded themselves of the story of faith and freedom through the best of times and the very worst. In the good times, it has reminded the Jewish people of their blessings, and in the bad times, it sustained them. By retelling the Hanukkah story, Jewish Australians remind themselves that freedom must be continually tested, tended and renewed. At home and abroad, Australia and Australians have always been a good, proud friend of the Jewish people. As a free, democratic people, we live in a land of peace and acceptance, a place where you are free to be whoever you want to be. In our country, Jewish Australians have contributed mightily to our land and have lived out the call of Jerusalem to pray for the people of the city, for if it prospers, so shall you prosper. As the ACT Jewish community gathers over the 8 days of Hanukkah, may each of you be strengthened and refreshed in your faith and give thanks for the freedom of our shared home. Hanukkah Sameach. From the Honourable Scott Morrison MP, Prime Minister of Australia. Thank you.
You're all nailing the Hebrew tonight. I'll tell you what, you're all invited to our adult educational Hebrew classes and make it very easy for our teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the formalities for this evening. We have on the table fried, or whatever's left, there's fried foods, and this is symbolic of the miracle of oil. So there's donuts, latkes, all these foods that are fried, and again we engage with history by consuming them. So please feel free to fill up your plate again. Enjoy the beautiful music by Rabbi Menachem Feldman. Thank you all so very much for coming and celebrating Hanukkah with us. Wishing you all a Freilichen Chanukah, Chanukah Sameach, Happy Chanukah. And on the back of your program booklet is an ad for this coming Sunday. We have a community Chanukah fair outside our headquarters in Girlang. Please come with your family. This event is intended for the wider Canberra community as well, to come together as one Canberra community to celebrate what we all, the values that we all have in common. We'd love to see you there. Happy Chanukah and enjoy. Thank you all. Take it away. Inside you will find one small candle, which is the theme of this evening. Take home with you one small candle, light it at home, enjoy the chocolate, and remember, the chocolate always tastes better when you light a candle, when you give to others, then you're able to enjoy things yourself. So take that on your way out and enjoy the rest of your Hanukkah. whoever needs a Chanukah menorah candles, they are complimentary at the door on your way out. Please take with yourself a Chanukah set.
Happy song sing around this room. Oh, say shalom v'mromeh. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom v'mromeh. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al Yisrael ועל כל יושבי תבל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, 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 השם ציון יעידת ירושלים יברכך השם ציון Ubikli and